You ever have those mornings where the shop feels, I don't know, expectant? Like the tools are just waiting for you to mess something up so they can laugh at you in high carbon steel?
That sounds like a very specific brand of craftsman paranoia, Tiger. Are the chisels judging your coffee choice today?
They're judging the fact that I tried to use a framing hammer for finish work yesterday because I was too lazy to walk 6 feet to the tool chest. My thumb is currently pulsing in a rhythmic reminder that gravity and hubris are a bad mix. But physical trauma aside, it's Saturday, March 7th. Welcome to the TigerDen Daily. We've got a lot to chew on today, from tools that basically think for you to why your shop might not be the retirement nest egg you think it is.
Bold start. Also, sorry about the thumb, but before you start looking for a lawyer to sue your own hammer, we need to talk about the 2026 power revolution. You just got back from World of Concrete and you're looking at these new Hilti releases like they're the crown jewels.
Alex, I've seen a lot of battery platforms come and go, most of them about as reliable as a screen door on a submarine. But what Hilti is doing with this neuron stuff, it's different. They've essentially built a brain into the battery.
A brain? I already have a co-host with a brain, mostly. Why does my circular saw need one?
Because your saw doesn't get tired, but it does get pushed too hard. These tools are communicating. They're telling the charger exactly how hard they worked, how hot they got, and when they're about to kick the bucket before they actually do. It's the difference between a tool that's a dumb hunk of iron and one that's a partner. We spent all of February putting the 2026 lineup through the shredder, and the gap between pro and prosumer is getting so thin you could measure it with a hair.
So, for the person sitting at home, looking at a wall of mismatched batteries from 5 different brands, what's the move? Is it time to dump the old tech?
Here's the reality of the situation. We're moving away from buying tools and into buying ecosystems. If you're starting fresh, don't look at the drill. Look at the battery energy density. The 2026 standards have squeezed about 30% more life into the same size footprint we had 2 years ago. If your battery platform is still living in 2024, you're basically hauling around a lead anchor.
Okay, so we're smarter with our tools. But what about being smarter with our business? You've been talking to these automotive shop owners lately, and it sounds like some of them are in for a very cold shower.
This one hurts a little bit because I see so much of myself in these guys. You spend 30 years building a business, you've got grease under your fingernails that's older than your grandkids, and you assume that sweat equals a 7-figure buyout.
And the reality check is?
The reality is that a buyer doesn't care about your legacy or how many nights you slept on the floor of the office. They care about processes. I was talking to a consultant last week who put it perfectly. If the owner disappears for a month and the shop stops making money, that shop isn't a business. It's a high-stress hobby.
So the 3 C's we all learned, concern, cause, and correction, those aren't enough anymore?
Not if you want to sell. The 2026 3 C's are about value. First, culture. Does your team stay because they love the environment, or are they just waiting for a better offer to walk across the street? Second, capacity. If a customer rolls in with a 2026 hybrid that has more computing power than the Apollo 11, can your shop talk to it? If you're not rigged for EVs, you're basically a blacksmith in the age of the Model T.
And the third?
Communication. This is the secret sauce. Are you still calling people on the rotary phone to tell them their brakes are shot? Or are you sending them a digital inspection with high-res photos showing them metal on metal? Transparency is the only currency that matters now. If your shop doesn't have a digital paper trail, it's worth pennies on the dollar.
It's the trust but verify era of car repair. I like it. But let's shift gears to the maker moguls, the people selling their crafts, not their garages. You noticed something interesting about Etsy lately. Apparently, vintage has a very specific birthday.
Everything's vintage if you're young enough, I guess. But for Etsy, it's 20 years or it's just used. But the real gold mine right now isn't just finding old stuff. It's how you talk about it.
You mean I can't just list a cool old lamp and wait for the money to rain down?
Not unless you want that lamp to sit on your shelf until it actually becomes an antique. 2026 is the year of niche SEO. People aren't searching for lamp. They're searching for, and I'm not making this up, 1970s mid-century amber glass mushroom lamp. You have to be a detective. You have to describe the soul of the object.
And what about the folks making new things? The Amazon data you've been digging through is showing some pretty weird trends.
It's the Swiss Army knife effect. The top 500 keywords are all about multifunctional. Nobody wants a table that's just a table anymore. They want a table that's also a phone charger, a storage bin, and maybe makes toast on the side.
Tiger's patented toaster table, coming soon to a Kickstarter near you.
Hey, don't joke. I once built a coffee table with a built-in humidor and a hidden drawer for TV remotes. It weighed 400 pounds and required a forklift to move it, but it was multifunctional. The lesson for the makers out there: find a problem and solve it with your hands. If you're just making art, you're competing with everyone. If you're making a solution, you're the only name in the game.
Speaking of solutions, let's talk about the gearheads who just want to get better in their own shop. You're calling this the genius tool era.
This is the part that gets me excited. When I started, if you wanted a perfectly straight cut on a 12-foot sheet of oak, you either had a $10,000 sliding table saw or you prayed to the gods of carpentry and hoped your hand was steady.
And now?
Now, for a couple $100 on Amazon, you can get a high-precision track saw guide that makes you look like a master cabinet maker. I've seen guys who couldn't cut a straight line in a sketchbook producing glue line ready edges with these things.
Isn't that cheating, though? I feel like the old school Tiger would have something to say about using lasers instead of your eyes.
Listen, I'm all for tradition, but I'm also for not wasting a $100 sheet of walnut because I had too much caffeine and my hand twitched. These tools, the digital angle finders, the Bridge City style gauges, they don't do the work for you, but they remove the maybe. In woodworking, maybe is the most expensive word in the dictionary.
So, what's the challenge for the weekend? You always want to push the listeners out of their comfort zone.
Here's the deal. Buy that one genius tool you've been putting off, the one you think is too fancy for you. And then I want you to use it to tackle a joint that scares the life out of you. For most people, it's the through dovetail.
Oh, the classic "I'm going to ruin this piece of wood" joint.
Exactly, the one where if you're off by half a degree, it looks like a beaver chewed the ends of your boards. Use the tech, use the precision guides. Prove to yourself that the only thing standing between you and professional grade work is the willingness to trust a better tool.
And maybe a little less coffee if you're doing the layout work.
Always with the coffee, Alex. But look, whether you're fixing a transmission, selling a vintage lamp, or just trying to get a shelf to hang straight, the theme of today is the same. The world is getting more precise. Don't let your skills get left in the dust because you're tied to the old way of doing things.
That's a wrap on the tech, the trades, and the tools. Tiger, try not to hit any more fingers with that hammer this afternoon.
I make no promises, but I will promise this. If I do, I'll find a way to turn the mistake into a distressed design feature and sell it for double.
Spoken like a true maker mogul. See you all tomorrow.